Welcome back to Monologue Tips. Today we're going to be talking about camera positioning and props. Section 1, Camera Positioning. The do's and don'ts of camera positioning. Your first step is you're going to choose a height that is flattering and accommodating to your character and planned movements. What I mean by this is how high your camera is up on whatever surface it's on. So you want to make sure that whatever angle it's at, whatever height that it's at, is getting every part of your body you need in the camera shot. In the examples I'm going to show later, I have already chosen the height that I wanted at that's going to give me the best view. Pick a spot within the camera view that aids your movements and words best. You want to make sure that every part of your body that needs to move and the space it needs to move in can be seen within this camera view without you having to quickly adjust it by accident, You're also going to push the computer far back from you. That's going to give you the most playing space within the screen. The farther back it is, the more space you have to move that the camera will catch it. Lastly, feel free to move within the camera view and switch positions every now and then. You want to move a lot. You don't want to look too static. Otherwise, it's not going to look like you're acting. It's just going to look like you're kind of reciting lines. Some don'ts. Don't just put the computer in your lap or the camera looking at you unless it's intentional for your character, in which we've probably already talked about that. Don't just sit in the center of the screen for the whole time. You're going to want to move a lot. You want to pick a spot that aids your movements best. And if that's the center of the screen, that's great, but it should be intentional. Don't only have your face and shoulders in the shot for the whole performance. If we can't see your arms, we're not going to see them moving. And odds are you're using your arms to help tell the story a lot. You don't just have dead fish arms. They're moving. We need to be able to see them, not just your face. Lastly, don't stay movementless in the same position the whole time. That's not going to help tell your story. One of the things you've learned about in drama class is that your voice and your body and your imagination are there to tell the story. You can't cancel your body. So make sure that you're moving and changing positions as it helps you. Let's see some examples. Camera angle number 1. You're going to want to put your computer or your phone or whatever you're recording with on an even surface so that it's level with you. Then you're going to back yourself up so that we see the top of your head all the way down to your torso. That way, whatever you're doing, we can see it in the shot. And then I'm centered in it, right? So if I'm moving my hands, you can see it. If I'm picking up a prop, you can see it where I'm holding it. You get the full view. Easy one. This is the one that most of you guys I'm going to recommend using. We're calling this the full body, which I'm going to recommend to about half of you who are doing very physical things. So you're going to want to move stuff out of your area. For me, I'm moving my chair. And then you're going to position the camera back a little bit further so that when I'm in the shot, you're seeing almost all of me no matter what I'm doing, where I go, you can see me moving. Next, we're going to talk about positions in the screen. For most of you, I'm going to recommend that you're center. Here I am, center in the screen, this way and this way. That way, no matter what I do, you have a chance of seeing me here still, right? Then there's also some where you might want to be off to the side. That's for people who might be showing other things. So if you're showing the squirrels or the window and you want to highlight that, you're going to put yourself to the side. Or if you're using stuffed animals and you kind of want those on a stage, it's good to put you to the side of the camera so we can see this going on. But you got to practice to make sure you're still in the shot. Then there's some of you who might go below, which is similar to that one in that we're highlighting something above. So if I want to highlight my sign up here, I'm going to put myself below the camera. What's important about this angle, though, is it deletes the lower half of your body and your arms. So I'm doing a lot of arm movements right now. You can't see them. So if I'm going to do these things, I need to exaggerate them and put them up here for you to be able to see what I'm doing. Something I didn't show in those videos was close-ups. You guys have seen me try these, and I've only talked to some of you about this, but they should be used sparingly and for specific reasons. Some examples of specific reasons would be to express confusion with technology, to intimidate your viewers. The closer you get to them, the more scared, quotes around scared, they're going to be. To reveal a secret or classified information, almost like you're whispering to somebody. To show something on your face. You obviously want to get close to show us that. Or lastly, to express a strong emotion such as excitement and anger. You're going to reserve these close-ups to those few times in your monologue, and then they'll seem really important, and they'll really aid your story. Whereas if you do it all the time, it might get kind of repetitive. Section 2, Props. Using them the most effectively. Do's and don'ts. Do practice holding your props in the view of the camera. If you don't practice, then the day of, we might not even be able to see them because you've never known where to hold them in the view before. Do, in general, keep your props in the center view of the camera. Always hold them a little bit higher than you think is natural. This is important. If you hold it too low, we won't be able to see it. You'll see that in the example soon. If you're using stuffed animals, establish a stage, whether that's your lap, a table, a couch, or something else, and position your body so that you and the stuffed animals are in the view of the camera. Do plan where all your props are kept for the performance and keep them all within grabbing distance at all times so you're not grappling during the performance. Practice where they are and keep them there. Don't skip practicing and assume you will hold your props in the camera view. You need to know where they are so you don't mess up. Don't hold props towards the bottom of the screen thinking that we can see them when we can't. If they're too low, we won't be able to see them, I promise. Don't use the stuffed animals randomly and unplanned. If you do that, you're going to feel uncomfortable and nervous and then get mixed up with them. Practice using them and it'll come off effective. Lastly, don't leave props randomly thrown about and hope you'll grab them when needed. You want to know exactly where they are to make yourself prepared. Let's see this on camera. Lastly, we're going to talk about props. The first thing you need to do is make sure that all your props are within reach of you. If it's on a shelf nearby that you can easily just grab it on the floor next to you, wherever it is, you want to make sure you're not fumbling around and interrupting your performance. Next, you're going to make sure that when you're using a prop, you're holding it at an appropriate height. If I would hold this book as I normally would down here, you can't really see it on the camera, and the audience isn't going to understand that I'm using a book. So I'm going to hold it up higher than I normally would, which is going to feel a little weird for me, but it's going to look better to the audience because they can see that I'm using the book. Honestly, with all props, you're going to hold them up higher than you normally would. Probably somewhere around your shoulder height range. Keeping it on this level in this range is going to make it seeable for your audience a lot easier. This goes for stuffed animals or whatever you may be using. In review, choose the right height to make your camera level. The height of your computer is going to matter. Put it where it should be so that we can see everything we need to see. Position yourself in the best spot to use the whole space. Push the camera computer back to include as much of you as possible. Use close-ups purposefully but sparingly. And lastly, keep all props in the center of the camera, holding them higher than you think. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. You know my email. And watch the other tips to try. Thanks, guys.